During World War II, there was a special group of pilots known as the Tuskegee Airmen. They were African Americans and faced a lot of challenges because of racial discrimination. Despite this, they became known for their bravery and skill as fighter pilots. Their planes were marked with distinctive red paint on the tails, which is why they were also called the Red Tails, or Red Tail Angels. Now there's a group called the Red Tail Squadron, which is part of the Commemorative Air Force. They fly a World War II era plane called the North American P-51C Mustang. This plane has a special connection to the Tuskegee Airmen because they used similar planes during the war. The Red Tail Squadron's main goal is to keep the memory of the Tuskegee Airmen alive. They do this by flying the P-51C Mustang and sharing the stories of the airmen with people all over the country. But flying these old planes is not easy. It takes a lot of money and effort to keep them in good condition. Over the years, the Red Tail Squadron has raised more than $2 million to restore and maintain their P-51C Mustang. The story of the Red Tail Squadron's plane starts after World War II. The United States Army sold off a lot of its old planes, including a P-51C, to Montana State University for just $1. It sat on campus for years until a man named Lloyd Creek bought it for the same price. He wanted to restore it, but it wasn't easy. The plane ended up being moved around a lot and even getting damaged by a hurricane. Eventually, in 1970, Lloyd Creek decided to donate the plane to the CAF. They took it apart and started working on restoring it. It was a long process, with volunteers from all over the country pitching in to help. Finally, in the late 1980s, they finished restoring the plane, thanks to a guy named Don Hinz, who had a lot of passion for the project. Now, the P-51C Mustang is one of only 4 still flying in the world. It's worth a whopping $2.5 million, but its real value lies in the history it represents. This particular P-51C used to belong to a pilot named Captain Andrew "Jug" Turner. The people at the CAF's Minnesota wing took on the challenge of fixing it up. They named the project the Red Tail Project and got to work. At first, they tried fixing it up at Fleming Field, but they needed some extra help. So they called in experts from North Dakota, and finally, in May 2001, the plane was up in the sky again. They named it Tuskegee Airmen as a tribute to a group of African-American pilots who served during World War II. From 2001 to 2004, the plane flew in a bunch of air shows, telling people about the history of the Tuskegee Airmen. It was seen by millions of people. But in May 2004, during a show in Minnesota, something went wrong. The engine broke and the plane crashed. The pilot, Don Hinz, survived, but the plane was badly damaged, and sadly, Don passed away later due to injuries. Despite the crash, the Tuskegee Airmen were determined to get their plane back in the air. They spent the next 5 years working on it at Tri-State Aviation in North Dakota. Jerry Beck, one of the main guys working on the plane, tragically died in another plane accident in 2007. But other volunteers stepped in to keep the project going. Finally, in July 2009, the P-51C had its first flight after being rebuilt. It was a big moment, and the plane flew to Wisconsin for its public debut at AirVenture 2009. Since then, it's been used to honor fallen Tuskegee Airmen with military flyovers. In 2011, the group changed its name to the CAF Red Tail Squadron and finished building the Rise Above Traveling exhibit. This exhibit helps tell the story of the Tuskegee Airmen and travels to different schools and events along with the Mustang plane. This particular P-51C, with tail number N61429, began its journey as a trainer aircraft in 1945, serving stateside during the waning days of World War II. After the war, it found itself retired and displayed at Montana State College for 4 decades until its restoration. Thanks to the dedication of organizations like the CAF Red Tail Squadron, this historic aircraft was revived and took to the skies once again. The Tuskegee Airmen defied not only the enemy overseas, but also the barriers of racism at home. As African-American pilots in a segregated military, They fought with valor and distinction, proving their worth beyond measure. These brave men flew over 15,000 missions in North Africa and Europe, showing incredible courage and skill. First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt played a significant role in their story. She visited Tuskegee and was impressed to see black pilots in action, challenging the belief that they couldn't fly planes. Her support helped pave the way for the formation of the 99th Pursuit Squadron, the first black air unit in the U.S. Army Air Corps. But why were they called the Red Tails? As we mentioned before, during the war, the Tuskegee Airmen painted the tails of their planes red to distinguish themselves. This bold move not only made them stand out, but also earned them the nickname Red Tails. Their distinctive markings became a symbol of hope for the bomber crews they escorted, flying through dangerous enemy territory. Although their record isn't flawless, the Red Tails achieved remarkable success, with 112 aerial victories. While some claim that they never lost a bomber under their escort, the truth is that they did suffer losses. However, their performance was still exceptional compared to other units, considering the challenging circumstances they faced. After the war, the Tuskegee Airmen continued to make history. President Harry S. Truman's Executive Order 9981 helped break down racial barriers in the military. Many of the airmen went on to have successful careers, like General Daniel Chappie James Jr., who became the first black four-star general in the U.S. military. One of the last surviving members, General Charles McGee, flew an incredible 409 combat missions across 3 wars. He not only served with distinction but also worked tirelessly to preserve the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen through organizations like Tuskegee Airmen, Inc. His dedication and contributions earned him recognition and honors, including a promotion to Brigadier General. The legacy of the Red Tails is deeply intertwined with Alabama's history, spanning from the past to the present and even reaching into the future. These brave men and women, the first African-American military pilots in the United States, left an indelible mark on aviation during World War II. Fast forward to September 7, 2018, and the skies above Alabama bore witness to a tribute that honored this remarkable legacy. The 100th Fighter Squadron Red Tails at Dannelly Field understand the significance of their red-tailed jets. It's more than just paint. It's a symbol of homage to the original Red Tails, the Tuskegee Airmen who flew P-51 Mustangs with red tails to distinguish themselves during the chaos of battle. The stage was set for a historic event, the Red Tails over Montgomery Air Show scheduled for September 8th. Major Rich Sheriff Peace, a fighter pilot with the Red Tails, saw an opportunity to create something special. With a red-tail P-51 Mustang and an F-22 Raptor from the 301st Fighter Squadron set to participate, the idea of a unique flight over Tuskegee began to take shape. The plan was ambitious yet deeply meaningful. 3 Tuskegee aircraft piloted by 3 black pilots would soar over Moton Field in Tuskegee, the historic training ground of the Tuskegee Airmen, and Dannelly Field, the current home base of the 100th Fighter Squadron. Major Peace would pilot the F-16, Brad Lang would handle the P-51, and Major Paul Loco Lopez would command the F-22. The significance of the moment was not lost on Major Lopez, who reflected on the sacrifices of those who came before them. As the aircraft took to the skies, the pilots embarked on a journey that bridged generations, paying homage to the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen. Despite the differences in speed and maneuverability between the aircraft, the flight was smooth, allowing the pilots to appreciate the beauty and majesty of the P-51 Mustang as it glided through the air. For Major Peace, seeing the iconic aircraft flying over Moton Field was a particularly awe-inspiring moment. As the formation completed its series of maneuvers and photo opportunities, the jets returned to Montgomery, their mission accomplished. Though the flight itself was brief, its impact resonated deeply with the pilots and all who heard their story. Major Peace summed up the significance of the legacy flight, emphasizing its role in honoring the memory of the Tuskegee Airmen and highlighting the progress made since their time. Through their courage and sacrifice, the Tuskegee Airmen paved the way for future generations of aviators, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire. If you enjoyed learning about these trailblazing pilots, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories of courage and perseverance in aviation history. Fly high and keep breaking barriers.